AI isn't going to destroy your photography career, but refusing to use it might. A lot of photographers I talk to are looking at AI and they're worried. They see these tools that can create an image just from a few words of text. And the first thought that comes to mind is my career going to be replaced? I understand the hesitation, but I think that perspective is missing the biggest opportunity we've ever had in photography. Having spent years writing about the technical mechanics of exposure and editing, I've watched this industry evolve. And simply put, these new AI tools aren't here to take your place. They're here to give you a level of creativity and efficiency that just wasn't possible before. Whether you're balancing the harsh, dynamic light of a deep Southwest canyon, or trying to pull clean details out of a complex astrophotography shot, AI can handle the tedious lifting so you can focus on the art. And today, I want to show you exactly how that works. Let's be honest, the concern is understandable. If your work is built entirely on creating simple, functional images, the kind that are just good enough, then you are starting to compete with AI, and that's a difficult position to be in. The demand for certain kinds of generic stock imagery is under pressure because AI can often deliver something similar, faster, and for less cost. It's why major agencies are already building AI generators into their platforms. Some of that formulaic, repetitive work is being automated. But that's not really the art of photography, is it? And that's the part I think people are getting wrong. The mistake is thinking that AI is trying to do your job as an artist. It's not. It's here to do the job of a technician. For as long as I can remember, a huge amount of a photographer's time has been spent on tedious, repetitive tasks. Manually tracing around a subject to mask them, painting out distracting elements one by one, rescuing shadows pixel by pixel. This is work that can take days. It's creatively draining, and it has very little to do with your vision. Imagine AI is not your replacement, but the most powerful darkroom assistant you've ever had. It's not about replacing creativity. It's about removing the tedious parts so you can spend more of your energy on what actually matters, the composition, the story, and the connection with your subject. Instead of just looking at software menus, I want to show you what this actually looks like in practice. Let's look at a few different genres of photography and see exactly how AI handles the heavy lifting. Let's start with complex indoor ambient lighting. I took this shot inside the historic Palace Saloon in Prescott, Arizona. To capture the deep textures of the bar and the warmth of the lights, without blowing out the highlights, I used an intentional technique, an f/22 aperture, a slow 30-second exposure to soak in the room, and a flash fired right at the end to anchor the frame. Because of the long exposure, you get these beautiful, ghostly movements from the patrons, but you also fight compression and the technical limitations of the sensor in low light. Instead of spending hours manually painting contrast adjustments into the dark wood panels, look at what happens with a simple AI prompt. The software recognizes the context of an historic interior, cleanly rebalances the exposure, and lifts the mud out of the shadows, but the real magic happens when you pair that workflow with intelligent upscaling. Running this through Topaz, Gigapixel AI, at a 4 times enhancement doesn't just upscale the pixels, it analyzes the data. The AI actually understands the geometry of the carved woodwork and the sheen on the glass and polished wood, reconstructing micro details that were lost to camera physics. The reality of shooting in environments like the Gold King Mine in Jerome, Arizona, is that they are incredibly chaotic. You are fighting extreme contrast. To ensure I had all the data I needed for this vintage motorcycle, I shot a bracketed exposure sequence. Combining these gives us incredible dynamic range, but it also eliminates every distraction, like a wire fence cutting right across the front tire. In the past, manually clone stamping that thin wire across the intricate treads of the tire is exactly the kind of tedious work that leads to burnout. With tools like generative remove, that roadblock is gone. The AI analyzes the complex textures of the rubber and rusted metal, cleanly patching out the fence and the background truck in seconds. It allows you to take a chaotic documentary capture and immediately shift your focus to the artistic finish, like dialing in an atmospheric grunge effect. Now, a lot of people think AI is a flawless magic wand. It's not. In this shot of an Esteban Dancer in Sedona, the background is cluttered. When I first ran this through a standard background removal tool to isolate the regalia, it completely missed the top horn and the fine string connecting the two horns. If you don't understand the tools, this is where you go back to spending hours with the manual pen tool. But the solution is giving the AI better data. AI needs clear edge contrast. By running the file through Topaz Gigapixel first, we upscale and rebuild the micro details, sharpening the edges of that horn. With that newly enhanced data, the selection tool works dramatically better. AI is a collaborative assistant. It still requires your problem solving to get it to the finish line. Let's look at AI from a completely different perspective: pre-visualization and communication. Capturing an empty venue like the chapel at Tlaquepaque requires technical skill, balancing the ambient light with the mural. But these two wedding scenes were not photographed. They were generated entirely by an AI prompt, using my original photograph as the foundation. This isn't about faking a portfolio. If you are pitching to a couple or shooting commercial work for a venue, clients struggle to visualize an empty room. With AI, you can take your pristine shot and instantly populate it, selling your vision and closing the deal before the shoot even happens. The scale's up to complex conceptual work. I wanted to create a short cinematic video clip featuring Ansel Adams and his element. Instead of a generic text prompt, I fed the AI-specific ingredients from my library: his iconic Snake River overlook, a portrait of Adams, and an image of an antique large format camera. The AI intelligently synthesized these into a single high-quality photograph with accurate lighting and style. And here is the crucial practical advice. I verified this static image first. I made sure the composition was perfect before I took the final step and prompted the animation. By doing this, I didn't waste valuable time or credits on a complex video that missed the mark. This is AI as an interactive conceptual partner. When shooting wildlife, the golden rule is absolute: focus on the eyes. Even when you nail it perfectly, shooting wide open in low light can rob you of critical micro details in the fur. AI enhancement tools trained on the physical structure of fur and feathers intelligently rebuild that high frequency detail, giving a technically sound image a razor sharp bite. AI also opens up incredible compositing avenues. The subject here is beautifully captured, but the original environment lacked narrative. Using AI background removal, I extracted those highly complex edges along the neck and seamlessly composited the giraffe into a sweeping stock image of the savannah, building a complete majestic scene. In landscape photography, you are at the mercy of the weather. Sometimes the light on the rocks is perfect, but the sky is a flat, lifeless gray. This is where AI tools become partners in your artistic vision. I used AI to drop in a sky that perfectly complements the warmth of the red rocks at Golden Hour. It's not about creating a fake place. It's about presenting the location at its absolute most dramatic. But understand the difference between replacing and enhancing. In this image, that moon is exactly where it was in reality. I didn't composite a fake moon. However, atmospheric haze softens lunar details. I used AI to specifically rebuild the crisp textures of the moon's surface, restoring the clarity the human eye perceives. When you shoot iconic architecture like the Chapel of the Holy Cross, you rarely get the location to yourself. I shot an HDR bracket not just to balance the brutal light, but to eliminate the ghosty motion of tourists inside. And on the spiral ramp, AI, object removal, cleanly erased a modern metal handrail, rebuilding the aggregate concrete flawlessly. But there is one thing AI cannot generate: access. I shot this wide panorama shortly after sunrise years ago. Today, a gate limits early access. Technology can remove a handrail, but it cannot wake up before dawn, and it cannot replace the physical act of being there when the light is right. We've talked about what AI can do, but let's talk about what it saves you: time and effort. In the digital darkroom, time is your most valuable asset. To get these astrophotography results traditionally, I had to spend an incredible amount of time manually dodging and burning, brushing in light to reveal the rocket burning down the sky to make the stars pop. And this panoramic shot of the Milky Way required massive manual stitching to align the stars. If I processed these images today, dedicated AI masking, stitching, and denoise algorithms would handle those precise adjustments in seconds instead of hours. AI is not taking the soul out of photography. It is removing the tedious, mechanical labor so you can get back to your vision. The AI didn't hike out into the cold desert night to find that composition. It didn't feel the awe of standing under that galactic center, and it didn't know the courthouse view looks entirely different under moonlight. You did. AI is a brilliant assistant, but it is blind without your direction. It doesn't know why you are taking the photograph. So don't let the fear of new technology hold you back. Embrace these tools. Let them handle the heavy lifting. Reclaim your time in the digital darkroom and use that time to get back out into the field and capture the world exactly the way you see it. Thank you so much for watching. Keep shooting, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one. Let's keep it simple. Check out my book, Mastering Photographic Histograms. It shows you exactly how to read that graph so you never accidentally clip a highlight again. And if you need to strengthen your core foundation, pair it with my guide, Mastering Aperture, Shutter Speed, ISO, and Exposure. It breaks down the exposure triangle step by step so you can confidently tackle any lighting situation. You can find links to both books right down in the description.